Some things on the internet are not meant to be found. They lurk in the shadows, waiting.
If you're listening to this, then I didn't make it home on time. That probably sounds dramatic, but I need you to understand something right away. I didn't come to work tonight expecting danger. I came in like I always do. Same badge, same uniform, same half-dead coffee from the vending machine. Ordinary night, ordinary job. That's how it always starts. I'm hiding as I record this. The lights are still on, which is worse somehow. Bright enough to see every corner, every reflection, every place something could be standing without moving. I can hear the building breathing. I know how that sounds. I would have laughed too yesterday. But once you work enough night shifts, you start noticing things you're not supposed to notice. Sounds that don't match machines. Footsteps that stop when you stop listening for them. I shouldn't still be here. I know that. Something happened earlier that doesn't fit into language very well, and whatever caused it is still nearby. I can feel that part, the pressure of it, like the air itself is leaning in to listen. Every time I think it's gone, something changes. A door that was open isn't anymore. A screen flickers. My name shows up where it shouldn't. If you work nights, I need you to hear this. The job itself isn't the problem. It's the hours. There are gaps in the night. Empty stretches where the rules loosen. People like me stumble into them because we're tired and paid to stay awake. We tell ourselves it's safe because it's familiar. These stories aren't random. I didn't understand that at first. I thought what happened to me was a glitch, a one-off nightmare. It isn't. There's a pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. I can hear something moving again. Slow this time. Careful. I keep checking the time, but it feels stuck between minutes, like the night itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to make a mistake and noticing things they should not. Before I explain what happened to me, you need to hear the others. People who only work days think night shifts are just quieter versions of real jobs. Fewer calls, fewer customers, less supervision. That's the lie we tell ourselves too, at first. What actually happens is that you start seeing the seams. The world doesn't shut off at night. It thins out, like fabric worn soft enough to tear if you press too hard. Everyone who works nights learns rules, even if nobody ever writes them down. Don't whistle in empty buildings. Don't answer voices that say your name when you know you're alone. If something feels off, don't investigate just to prove you're brave. Bravery is expensive after midnight. Some rules you learn from coworkers. Others you learn once and never forget because you're still alive afterward. After what happened to me, I started asking questions. Quiet ones. I posted anonymously. I read messages from security guards, nurses, drivers, cleaners. Different jobs, same hours, same dread creeping in around 3 a.m. They all described moments that didn't fit. Missing time, places repeating themselves, conversations that shouldn't have happened. That's when I realized this wasn't about me. It was about the shift itself. The night keeps records. It remembers who pays attention. If you work nights, I want you to listen closely. And if you've experienced something you can't explain, say it out loud somewhere. Leave it in the comments. Compare notes. Patterns matter. The first message I ever received came from a security guard. The message came from a guy named Aaron, though I'm not convinced that was his real name. Night shift people lie about small things. It makes them feel safer. He worked security at an office complex that had been closed for years, the kind of place that still had company logos on the glass, but no people behind them anymore. His job, on paper, was simple. Sit at the desk. Watch the cameras. Walk the halls once an hour. Don't fall asleep. He described his nights the way all of them do at first. Boring. Predictable. Fluorescent lights humming like insects trapped in plastic. Coffee that tasted burnt no matter how fresh it was. The security desk sat in the main lobby, facing a wall of darkened glass offices and a long hallway that disappeared into shadow. Nothing ever happened, and that was the problem. After a while, the nothing starts to feel heavy. Aaron said the cameras were his anchor. 16 little squares showing empty rooms, stairwells, parking garages. He learned every angle by heart. Which camera flickered, which one lagged by half a second. He even named them, like pets. It kept him awake. When you work alone long enough, you start needing something to talk back. The first strange thing was the intercom. He was halfway through his second cup of coffee when it clicked on by itself. No buzz, no warning tone. Just a soft burst of static, then breathing. Slow. Close. He waited for someone to speak, finger hovering over the response button, ready to scold a lost janitor or prank caller. Nobody did. The breathing stopped, and the intercom clicked off. He laughed it off. Old building. Bad wiring. That's what you tell yourself when you need the night to make sense. 10 minutes later, it happened again. This time, a voice whispered, "Security," like it was testing the word. Aaron answered. He shouldn't have, and he knew that even as he did it. "Yeah," he said. "Who's there?" Silence. Then the same voice, clearer now. "You are." He checked the cameras. All 16 screens showed empty rooms. He stood up, did a quick walk of the lobby, even waved at the nearest camera like an idiot. Nothing moved. When he sat back down, the desk phone started ringing. The desk phone hadn't worked in months. The line was disconnected. He knew because he'd unplugged it himself to stop the dust from collecting around it. It rang anyway. 3 sharp rings, old-fashioned and loud. He stared at it, heart thudding, until it stopped. That was when the building started responding. Not just making noise, but reacting. When Aaron muttered under his breath, the intercom clicked softly, like acknowledgement. When he leaned forward to check a camera feed, the lights in that hallway brightened. He tested it, carefully. He stood up, and somewhere above him, a door slammed shut. He sat back down, and the slam echoed again, closer. He tried to call his supervisor. No signal. He tried his personal phone. Full bars, no service. The desk phone rang again. This time he picked it up. "Please don't hang up," the voice said. It sounded almost polite. "We don't get many chances to talk." Aaron demanded to know who it was, how they were doing this. The voice laughed, and the sound came from everywhere at once, layered through speakers that weren't supposed to exist. "You watch us all night," it said. "We wanted to see you." The cameras went dark, one by one. Not black, but something deeper, like the screens were showing rooms with no light at all. Aaron ran. He didn't finish his shift. He didn't grab his jacket. He bolted for the exit, keycard shaking in his hand. He doesn't remember getting out. That's the part that scares him the most. 1 second he was trapped under fluorescent lights. The next he was outside, vomiting in the parking lot as the sun came up. When he reported it, the company said there was no record of him working that night. No footage, no logs. The building, they told him, had been unstaffed for weeks. He sent me the message because he found a new listing online. Same building, night security position, still hiring. And he swore, on everything he had left, that the lights were on when he drove past it after midnight. That story changed how I listen at night. I kept rereading Aaron's message, not for details, but for timing. Every story landed in the same window, that soft dead stretch when clocks feel decorative. The silence was never empty, just attentive. Someone was always watching, waiting for acknowledgement. It didn't matter if the setting was a desk, a hallway, a phone line. The shape changed, the behavior didn't. There was a rule forming, one nobody said outright, the kind you only realize after breaking it. Story 2 is the one that made me stop trusting voices. It still echoes whenever the night decides to answer back alone again. The second story came from a woman who worked nights at a customer support center, the kind that handled billing problems and password resets for companies that didn't want to talk to their own customers. She asked me not to use her real name, so I'll call her Lena. Her message was calm, almost rehearsed, which made it worse. People who are still panicking don't sound like that. People who have accepted something do. She worked the overnight shift because it paid a little extra and because the phones were supposed to be quieter. Fewer angry callers. More time between pings. The room she described sounded exactly like every call center I've ever seen. Rows of cubicles. Headsets hanging like shed skin. Script binders taped to desks. A supervisor asleep in a glass office P. Lena followed the rules. Greet the caller. Verify the account. Apologize, even if it wasn't her fault. Her first strange call came in just after 2:30. The system flashed an incoming line number that wasn't formatted correctly. Too many digits. No location tag. She assumed it was a glitch and answered anyway. "Thank you for calling," she said, slipping into muscle memory. "How can I help you tonight?" The man on the line sighed like he'd been holding his breath for a long time. "You sound tired," he said. "They keeping you late again?" She froze. Callers weren't supposed to talk like that. She reminded him that calls were recorded. He laughed softly. "No, they're not," he said. "Not this one." She checked her screen. The recording indicator was dark. The call duration timer wasn't moving. She asked for his account number. He ignored her and asked if the vending machine by the break room was still broken. It was. She hadn't told anyone. Lena escalated to her supervisor, waving through the glass. The man kept talking while she waited. He described her desk, the chipped corner, the coffee ring she never cleaned. He told her she should stop picking at her cuticles because one of them was bleeding again. When she slammed the headset down, the call didn't disconnect. The voice kept going, muffled but steady, filling the cubicle like it belonged there. Check the logs later. That line didn't exist. There was no record of the call. Lena tried to convince herself it was a prank, but the calls kept coming. Always from that same impossible number. Sometimes polite, sometimes cruel. The man knew when she was reading the script instead of listening. He knew when she rolled her eyes. He knew what she was about to say before she said it. The worst part was how corporate it stayed. He never raised his voice. Even when he started threatening her, he phrased it like, "Feedback. You're going to have a problem if you hang up again," he'd say, calm and disappointed. "We don't like being ignored." One night, she tried to record it herself. She held her phone up to the headset while the call came through. When she played it back later, there was nothing, just silence and the faint hum of the building. But the file length showed 11 minutes. The final call came on her last shift. She had already put in her notice. She told herself she'd answer, document it, and leave. The man sounded different this time. Smaller, tired. He begged her not to go, said she was the only one who listened. When she told him she couldn't help anymore, he whispered her full name, the way her mother used to when she was in trouble. The line went dead. The system reset. A new call came in immediately. Different number, different voice, same breathing. I started paying attention to the clock after that. Not the numbers, but the gaps between them. There's a stretch of night where time feels padded, like soundproof walls around reality. Minutes drag, then vanish. Streets stay empty too long. Buildings feel paused, waiting. I think something moves during those hours because nothing else does. It slips between routines, using our stillness like cover. If you work nights, you know what I mean. You felt it, that elastic time. Story 3 isn't a story someone told me. It's proof you can scrub with your hands. And it leaves marks behind that I almost didn't include this one. Not because it's unbelievable, but because it's too believable. Hospitals already feel wrong at night. Too quiet for places built around pain. This story came from a janitor named Marcus who worked overnight sanitation at a regional hospital. He wrote like a man trained to notice details. Brands of cleaner, floor textures, the exact shade blood turns when it dries under fluorescent light. Marcus started every shift the same way. Clock in, gloves on, cart stocked. He cleaned the fourth floor first because it was usually empty. Administrative offices and used rooms, old equipment storage. He liked it because nothing ever happened there. He said the first time he noticed the stain, he assumed it was old. A dark smear near the nurse's station, half cleaned already, like someone gave up halfway through. He scrubbed it until the tiles shone. Industrial disinfectant. Elbow grease. The smell burned his nose. When he finished the floor, he signed off on his checklist and moved on. An hour later, when he passed through again, the stain was back. Same shape, same size, still wet. He cleaned it again, this time slower. He checked his shoes, checked the ceiling. Nothing was dripping. He finished and stood there, watching, until his radio crackled and distracted him. When he looked back, the stain was already dulling, like it had been there for hours. Rooms started rearranging themselves. A supply closet where a patient room had been. A patient room where an office should be. Marcus told himself he was tired. That night shifts mess with perception. But then he met the patient. The man sat on a bed that hadn't existed the night before. No chart, no wristband. Pale skin stretched too tight. He smiled when Marcus entered and said, "You missed a spot yesterday." Marcus told him visiting hours were over. The man nodded and said, "I know. That's why I waited." He said Marcus's name like they were co-workers. Marcus left the room and checked the board. No patient listed there. When he came back, the bed was gone. The stain wasn't. He went to records, pulled old files, found admissions that didn't line up, dates repeating, names crossed out but never discharged. Some listed as staff first, then patients later, handwriting changing halfway through. His own name wasn't there yet. The stains multiplied. Blood, footprints, handprints at shoulder height. He cleaned until his hands cracked. The floors remembered anyway. One morning, he realized the stains were forming paths, leading deeper into the building, toward wings closed for renovation. On his last night, he followed them. The air smelled sweet and rotten. Beds lined the hallways. Patients watched him with recognition, like he'd always been there. One reached out and grabbed his sleeve. "You work here," she said gently. "You always have." He never finished the message. It cut off mid-sentence. I hesitated to share it because hospitals are supposed to heal. I don't know what happens to the ones who stay late enough to be remembered. I think there is a rule: everyone learns too late. If something feels wrong at night, leaving might already be impossible. Not physically, not yet, but the moment you notice it noticing you, the door changes. You become part of the shift. Every story breaks this rule in a different way, and the consequences don't stop with the people who told them. There are effects that spread, replacements that arrive, absences that look normal to everyone else. The last story isn't a message someone sent me. It's mine. I wish I had listened before the night decided I belonged there. I never expected it to happen to me. I thought I understood the rules. I'd read Aaron's story, listened to Lena, absorbed Marcus's warnings, and still I showed up for my last night's shift, ready to train my replacement. I'll call her Elena, though I don't know if that's her real name. She arrived like any new hire. Smile, notebook, enthusiasm. Nothing about her seemed strange. At first, I started the handover. Explained the routines, the camera angles, the reports, the little quirks of the night shift. She nodded, asked the right questions. Then she paused, smiled. "You always check the north stairwell twice before midnight," she said. My chest froze. I hadn't told her that. No one had. not even in the training binder. I laughed nervously. Yeah, well, old habit. But she didn't stop. She corrected my phrasing in reports, anticipated my next words, even mimicked my posture when I leaned over the desk. At first I thought it was coincidence, maybe intuition, but then she started finishing sentences I hadn't yet spoken, describing my routines in the present tense, as if she had been here the entire night. I tried subtle tests. I left my keys on the opposite side of the desk. She moved them back without touching my hands. I took longer routes to the hallways. She appeared ahead of me. One of the cameras glitched, and when I went to review the feed, she was standing at my desk, writing something in my notebook I hadn't used yet. By the third hour, the unease grew into panic. The smile didn't falter. She didn't ask questions anymore. She already knew the answers. At some point, I realized this wasn't about training. She was learning me. Every gesture, every phrase, every habit. I wasn't being attacked. I was being replaced. I confronted her. How do you know all this? My voice shook, the first honest tremor I'd allowed since the shift began. She tilted her head, as if confused. I've always known, she said softly. I've been waiting for you to leave. I tried to leave. The door's locked. Keycard useless. Even my phone refused service. My reflection in the monitors flickered, at first mine, then hers, then mine again. By the end of the shift, I wasn't sure which version of me was still standing at the desk. She smiled and waved as if nothing had happened, slipping effortlessly into my role while I watched from somewhere just behind the glass. If you work nights, remember this. They notice everything. Patterns, routines, weaknesses. And sometimes, the person you train may not be who or what they appear to be. She's still working nights now. And if you hear someone call your name if you work nights, pay attention. Not everything can be explained, and some things shouldn't be ignored. Listen to your surroundings. Notice patterns. Share your experiences, your questions, your warnings. The people who've survived these hours rarely tell everything. They only hint. I've told you enough to stay aware, but not enough to feel safe. And when you clock in for your next shift, remember, the night doesn't forget. It watches, it waits, and it always knows who's awake. The shift begins anew every single night.